Hello everyone. Doctors have warned that lifestyle diseases are killing a lot of the affluent and economic bracket of Papua New Guineans. That group is exposed and even vulnerable to the downsides such as hypertension, alcohol, fatty foods, and lack of exercise, to list a few. And we don't have to look hard and far to find that group. But the problem here is not so much denying that you fall into that category and defend it or sulk over it, but doing something about it yourself. One person, a young man, well-educated, a politician, and a senior government minister in Ben Micah, used to carry those extra kilos. Not anymore. And when Mr. Micah came into our studios for TOK PIKSA, we commented that he had moved positions from a front row forward to a halfback. He smiled. Sir, thank you for coming onto the program. How did you do it?
Thank you, John, and thank you for accepting me on this program today.
You're welcome.
When I turned 40, I decided to live the saying that goes, life begins at 40.
Okay.
At 40, I was 135 kilogram heavy. I had chronic lung problems, asthma. I had high blood sugar. I was a candidate for early departure from this life.
And many people are, I think, in our kind of life.
Yes. Yeah? Through that decision, I decided to take a much more serious approach to my health and looking after my body. Yeah. And enjoying life from 40 onwards. Yeah, and I'm just happy to tell you that through a series of dietary discipline, exercise, and self-control, I am now, as of this morning, 107 kilogram.
Okay.
My sugar without medicine is now stabilized at 6.
Yeah, that's considered safe according to the doctors.
Yep, normal.
Yes.
So I'm happy. I look at the person in the mirror and he looks good and I feel great.
Yes. And ready to take on whatever you have to do as member for KVA, whatever you have to do as a minister, I suppose. Let's look at your portfolio first. Over the months that you've been in there, how has it been?
It's been difficult when I started because, as you know, these companies, as I have stated in previous addresses in public and also in press conferences, that they somehow lost their way for the 10 years that since I left the organization that I set up, the private,
enterprise.
Not the minister.
Not minister.
I was executive chairman.
That's right. Yes.
Of the privatization commission from 1999 to 2002, and then before I left, we set up the Independent Public Business Corporation, that became the successor organization to the privatization commission. Vincent Awali was the minister.
That's right.
And Prime Minister Morauta was Prime Minister at that time. And so I corporatized a lot of this, rather my commission corporatized a lot of these SOEs today that were previously state authorities, Electricity Commission, the Arbors Board, Water Board. These are organizations that were established by Acts of Parliament and operating under statutory institutional framework. I corporatized them and set them up as companies, 100% owned by the state and registered under the Companies Act.
And have they performed to the expectation that you've set them out to do?
Let me say that they should have done better, but they have done well. They have done well. Oh, yes.
Done better.
Yes. In terms of governance issues, a lot still need to be done to improve governance issues, but at least audits are being done. the Auditor General sends me copies of audits, which when I was executive chairman, we hardly saw the audit of these companies. So at least now when I sit down, I look at the financial statements, I know how much profit is being made a year, and I know the values of the company by looking at the balance sheet.
Okay. No
Yes.
political fingers in there that used to be.
Let's say it may be there, but it's minimal.
Okay. All right.
Because the directors are now fully accountable under the statutory requirements of the Companies Act, and therefore the management and operations of the companies are fully vested in the board and the management. Okay. So, like I was saying, this management issue, these governance issues of the companies, comparatively speaking to previously, are now much better improved. And the challenge now is to ensure that we fully move them to corporate governance. They begin to fully operate as companies under commercial environment. And I think from there you can see more profitability and hopefully more dividends being paid to the shareholder, which is the state.
But the other side of the coin is services to the people, effective services to the people.
Yes, the services, as you know, have mostly been restricted to the urban areas.
Yes.
However, through the district support improvement programs, I must say the credit to the Somalia government, especially under when Bart Philemon was Minister for Treasury. They set up this district rollout program that ensured that focus was done to improve capacity of governance at district level and local governments. And the current O'Neill government has now put a bigger slice of the budget to provincial governments and districts and local governments, which is now enabling things like rural electrification, water, and telecommunication services to be rolled out much more faster.
But telecom, I'll take you on the telecom a little bit, Minister.
Yes.
Telecom, and it was said at the Public Accounts meeting that infrastructures, the apparatuses out there in the districts are so expensive that districts cannot be able to afford them, to use them, to ensure that service delivery and whatever else that falls with it gets through to the people.
Yeah, that's correct, because of the high charge rates that we have to pay to the users of the satellites.
Okay.
That we have to access those
we have no say in that.
those VSAT systems that the telecom has set up throughout some of the districts and sub-districts throughout the country. Yeah, because we are leasing transponders to other satellite owners. And I just like to say that negotiations are now underfoot to see if we can launch our own satellite, because we have 2 slots that we have not filled for the last 20 years.
How much would that cost, satellite?
Roughly will cost about $300 to $400 million, but it will cut down the cost of satellite access, yes, in the long run.
Okay. IPBC Kumul Holdings, there's some reforms going on.
In the growing non-renewable sector, especially mining sector, and in the hydrocarbon sector, petroleum and gas, as you can see, the business has stepped up. But we are not really focused on strategies that will ensure that we effectively maximize our benefits through full participation in the upstream, the midstream, and the downstream of these industries.
Yes.
So the Prime Minister has given instructions to the various ministers to effect that cabinet decision to focus on this important idea of streamlining and rationalizing our involvement in the private sector. So we have set up this Kumul Trust,
yes,
which will be the main holding organization of state.
The umbrella organization.
Yes, that's right, of state investments in the mining sector, investment in the oil and gas sector, as well as maintaining our interest in the state-owned companies. So at the moment, you have Petromin, you have the Treasury holding state interest in Oktedi and Panguna, and some of the petroleum assets are parked with IPBC, some with Petromin.
All over the place.
All over the place,
Okay.
So now investors have one-stop shop.
Okay.
Petroleum, Kumul Petroleum. Mineral, Kumul Mineral.
Comes under that. Okay, well, let's talk to our landowners and the people who are not as knowledgeable, I suppose. Let's say it in layman's terms now. TOK PIKSA now.
Yes.
I want him something now. By halvi molai or someone.
Yes, and by you may get one big company, so you may call him Kumul Trust. And this trust, and by all him interest belong government or people of Papua New Guinea, long all mining site, and underneath lo Kumul Mineral. Lo side belong petroleum, na gas, and Kumul Petroleum. And then now the state company, also New Guinea, na telecom, post na PNG Power, PNG Ports, and while stop underneath the Kumul Holdings. Okay. So all get the revenue belong all this company, and by go inside the Kumul Trust, and then inside the trust now, by me broke him some like all the sovereign wealth fund, na sample by go along treasury belong budget, na sample by step back long build him up all strong belong all this company belong you me.
You mean also by mix him more money long past time, or you mean also money?
By you make him more money long past time, by you me improving management capacity belong all company. So you mean also by got good plan management and by lowering cost na come up with more profit, more dividend. He come along Kumul Trust na Kumul Trust by scaling this money good, lo supporting budget. Sample by stop lo sovereign wealth fund belong all beginning behind. Na sample money stop back long all company long continue long strong involvement below you me long all mining na gas na strong all company below you me also telecom na PNG Power.
Okay. So management of that Kumul Holdings management. That again is the operative word here. What sort of people are in there in managing this whole thing?
You got all good all Papua New Guinean staff, experience line staff. Now you got plenty.
Other Samari? Other Samari?
Other Samari is
Semakere Morauta?
Yes.
All this line is staff inside too?
All this line is staff. Semakere now I'm staff also chairman belong PNG Sustainable. Na plenty program belong PNG Sustainable and me play work one time. Also belong this project belong Purari. Government and give him belong PNG Sustainable one time origin. And program me play work one time Semakere staff. One time all sample another program belong PNG Sustainable.
Now when you work, Atha working?
Atha I'm work also one advisor. Me engage him long alibi me bla long negotiate him this how me play can straight him this loan where me play been MEM yet long underneath long ministry belonging.
And been stop past them.
So I'm now me got all sabe na experience stop long all this something I'm help me play long negotiate him this loan so you can kiss him back all sales play you all sets na maximize him control play you long oil and gas sector through our interest in all sets and also through our interest in the PNG LNG project. So I'm work also one play advisor me play.
Okay. When you got some another man overseas Papua New Guinea?
Oh yes, me play got all overseas. Of course, we've got all lawyers staff long country, some guidance, Black Dawson, Deloitte, KPMG, Pricewaterhouse, where we continue to utilize their skills and professional knowledge in many aspects of the SOEs and also Narapla engagement you me along all resource sector. And also there are some international advisors that we have engaged to work with us. People like Mr. David Murray, who is helping us to set up the Sovereign Wealth Fund, where me part belong this all got a common structure. Yes. Na plenty of international advisors from Singapore, where me play work along engage him or work one time Temasek Holdings belong Singapore. So I have a highly qualified team of skilled people inside the SOEs, inside the IPBC under the leadership of Mr. Wasanta Kurumasiri, who is a very competent CEO. Is putting together a team of top managers and professionals in IPBC and also within the companies to give us that professional advice At the same time, we have these international people. Okay. And then we have experienced people like Arthur and Semekere that we can call on any time to assist us in these endeavors.
Let's talk about your visit to Indonesia. It's a forerunner to the Prime Minister's state visit or going there with a trade delegation.
Yes. My visit to Indonesia is I'm leading a delegation including the Minister for Culture and Tourism, the Honorable Boka Kondra, the Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Robert Atiafa, and various heads of state companies like PNG Power, NU Guinea, Telecom, as well as the heads of the Department of Mining, MRA, and Secretary to the Attorney General to prepare the groundwork for the Prime Minister's visit in June, next month, I believe on the 17th. Yes. This visit was put together during the Bali Democracy Forum when our Prime Minister attended. I was also part of the delegation together with the Attorney General, the Honorable Karangakua, and the President of Indonesia. In the bilateral discussions with our Prime Minister, invited our Prime Minister to visit. I believe this is going to be a first visit, state visit to Indonesia after a very, very long time.
I think Pius Winti went there with a trade delegation in the 80s.
That's right,
yes.
A long time ago.
Yes.
But the significance of this visit is very important. It will be a milestone visit, essentially because of some very major decisions are going to be made and signed by the two leaders, which will open up greater opportunities for trade, for social and cultural visits, and for business collaboration between the two countries, which has never been done and seen before.
No, yet they're so close neighbors.
Yes. So my visit is really to lay the framework for that with our counterpart ministers in Indonesia that are being organized by their government to ensure that the Prime Minister's visit is not just a visit for drinking Indonesian tea, but it will be a visit of great and profound significance for the relationship of the two countries. This is the most important country to us. A population of close to 300 million people just lying west to us. We say a land border. Yet, we have hardly scratched the surface in our dealings with them. And I believe that when we talk about going north, the bridge to north and the bridge to the west, where they call the Asian tigers, yes. But really, the word now, you heard it from the Australian Prime Minister, this century is going to be the Asian century. And the opportunity for us to enter into a major player in the Asian century is by bridging that gap that has been there for so long with Indonesia. And then from there we can effectively move on to integration with Asia.
North policy for a while. That's a broad term, I suppose.
Yes.
North meaning all of Asia.
Yes.
Should we now be specific? Look Indonesia, look Philippines, look Singapore.
Absolutely.
Specific rather than the general term.
John, you talk straight. You mean Tromo and nothing talk or some North. North could be anywhere. North could be in Alaska. North could be in Russia. North could be in China. We must step by step clearly define our relationships and our dealings with each of our neighbors in Asia. And the most important neighbor is the one where we say a land border. The one that is just lying next door to us, west. The one that has got a huge market of more than 200 million people. That and the one that we share cultural relationships,
Market, Minister, is the important here. What do we have that Indonesia doesn't have, and vice versa? Because we seem to be in the same area where I'm looking at agricultural commodities and things like that.
Yes, we have a lot of, Indonesia is somewhat industrialized in many areas more than us. You know, they produce cheap farm equipment, boats that we can buy cheaply from them. You know, appropriate technology to help our farmers, to help our women, you know, to grow our small to medium enterprises, to improve the technologies that we can just quickly pass on down the line. So those are the kind of things that we can do. At the same time, we can export refined products there, refined gold. You know, we can export LNG to them because of the large population with more requirements for energy. We can even sell water to them. So there's one in a million things.
Well, they don't have it in Jayapura. They take it in buckets to Jayapura hotels and things like that.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we can even sell food to them, you know.
All right. But, okay, that's the good part. There could be a difficult scenario here. Will the West Papua issue come or be put to the Prime Minister or things like that? Do you anticipate anything like that?
Specifically in Indonesia, and I can, it's good that you ask it so I can let it out of the bag. Yeah. The Indonesian Prime Minister stated very strongly to our Prime Minister that he needed the help of Papua New Guinea to resolve the issue of West Papua. It was specifically requested that Indonesia, in order to resolve the issue of the future of West Papua, it needs the help of Papua New Guinea. Now, some of the issues that are going to be discussed on my trip is to look at issues of jointly doing business, where areas on the border where exploration work and possible developments in oil and gas and mining, agriculture, timber, you know, and other road infrastructure and things like that have not been explored because of, you know, tensions along the border. So in order for us to do these things, we need to work together with the people of West Papua, all the different organizations that are represented in the struggle for determination and ownership of land and issues like that, will have to be factored into the discussions between the two governments. And I think both the PNG and Indonesian government recognize that in order for this collaboration to be fully effected, there must be an understanding on both sides to deal with the issue of the future of the people of West Papua within a united Indonesia.
Okay. The other thing is, I think the Minister of Foreign Affairs announced on the floor of Parliament of a review into visas and that there be special consideration for West Papuans in waiving the 10,000 kina fee that they normally impose. That'd be one of the areas that you look into as well.
Yes.
All right.
When I come back from the visit, I will announce very major arrangements that are being put in place to address a lot of the issues that I've just outlined to you in general.
All right. We'll give you the opportunity to get that together, and then we'll ask you, can you come back to this program again?
I will definitely.
All right. I'll look forward to that. Let's talk about KVA. Yes. Your electorate, how has that been? I see that you are gathering all your people together, particularly the women folk, and energizing them and trying to get them into activities.
Yes. I looked at the way our fathers used to run a very successful cooperative in the 50s and 60s and even early 70s called the New Island Native Society Association, or NINSA in short. It was a very successful cooperative society. It had buying points for copra in every island. It has trade store in every island. It had two ships called the NINSA 1 and the NINSA 2 that went around and picked up copra, delivered store goods and supplies, you know, in the 50s and 60s, John. Today, in a modern Papua New Guinea, we don't even have a ship to pick up copra. We don't even have people producing copra anymore. We set up a oil palm cooperative society for smallholder oil palm growers that today have trucks that help them to, cart the oil palm to the factory at La Cruma. We have an agriculture cooperative that has got trucks to pick up copra on the west coast, and there's boats, helping to, do a bit of services from people on the islands picking up copra in the islands. And then we have a fishermen's co-op for the fishermen, and we have a women's cooperative. Educational change, attitude change, and transformation change. I think this is the key that we really need in our communities, and women are the movers and the power of this change.
All right.
I just believe, John, and I emphasize this in my closing remarks. When you teach and empower one woman, you feed and clothe and wash and take care of 5 people. You see, many times you try to empower a man, that man looks after himself.
I think that spreads across on a country basis as well.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So we are running out of time. On that note, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for talking.
Thank you, John.
Okay. Ben Micah, the member for Kavieng and Minister for State Enterprises, ending this edition of TOK PIKSA. Thank you for watching. Another program at the same time a week from today. See you then. Bye for now.